How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to SeaBed. Back to what, well, a memory. I think they're real, but they might not be, who knows. Last time we were here, we were exploring Sachiko's side of the story. She's out in the countryside at this very interesting, like, old school hotel with Nanae, who goes out and travels the world and gets furniture for her place and just makes this place really neat, despite the fact that she has only one person staying there right now. A little odd that a business can keep itself, running efficiently enough that they can travel, gather furniture from other places, and bring it in when they only have seasonal patronage. But maybe they just get a ton of patronage in the summer. Anyway, just besides the point. Right now we're exploring a memory with Sachiko and Takako once again. So let's try and figure out where they are now. I think, let's see, we had a little bit of hints, I think, but not enough to be conclusive. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to keep exploring to see where we end up here. Okay, because this is pretty much the beginning of the memory. So let's find out what we're gonna do next, and I guess let's press forward. I can hear the flow of the river beside me. It was sometimes interrupted by the rocks in the stream knocking together. Aw, hey, they look kind of young. Like maybe this is like during high school. The sky turns orange as the sun goes down. Takako, walking a few steps in front of me on her way back from the rental store, was singing a tune. I hope it's not a real song, because I don't know what it is. It wasn't exactly orange, though. It was more like the time during dusk when you could barely make out the faces of people walking the other side of the street. Let's go home together with the crows. I think you're forgetting the lyrics. Huh? It was an old song, long since banished by to the cobweb corners of our minds. I was pretty sure I hadn't heard her sing it since kindergarten. She made another attempt. Let's go home together with the crows. I don't know, it must be a real song, I have no clue what it is, so forgive my horrific, falsetto singing. It's still the same. Huh? She started mumbling again. Listening to her humming, I tried recalling how she used to sing that song. Takako kept shaking her shoulders in tune with the song, her ponytails dancing with every motion. The bells of the mountain temple ring. Let's go home with hands joined together. Let's go home along with the crows. Let's go home along with the crows. Takako turned to me and smiled. Yeah, that's how it went. Walking ahead of me, she began her song again. I tried to join her in a small voice, as embarrassing as it was. The sky turns orange as the sun goes down. Oh, so now she's singing. I'm not gonna... I don't know. The bells in the mountain temple ring. Let's go home, our hands joined together. Let's go home along with the crows. I was glad it was actually dusk. Dusk, the time when it's too dark to see anyone's faces. It was the time of day when no one had to question who anyone was. Time when you don't have to be embarrassed. I set sail to that ship long ago. That's my falsetto singing. Grammy Award, right? Just to give it to me. I slipped into clothes I prepared for myself last night and left the room. Alright, so that was a very short memory. I'm used to them being long and drawn out. Sunlight filtered in through the east-facing windows of the corridor. The window frames and the branches of the oak tree both cast a shadow on the red carpet. Good morning. Upon opening the door of the cafeteria, I noticed Nanae standing behind the counter. She looked up at me over her shoulder, and her tied-up hair drifting across the air in sync with the motions of her head. Morning. You want something to eat? Some bread and coffee, if possible. Roger that. Oh man. I picked out the seat closest to the direct sunlight. It was warm to the touch. I'm not hungry in the slightest tonight. I made chili today, and it was delicious. But I ate a lot. Though I'd already heard them back when I was combing my hair in my room, the sound of chirpy birds outside was even louder here. I glanced out the window and saw a group of Japanese white eyes assembled around a puddle of water, surrounded by falling leaves. had accumulated below one of the oak's branches. Another bird jumped down from a taller branch and straight into the water. As I observed its little wings splashing around the puddle, the fragrance of coffee reached my nose. You're not used to seeing white eyes? Nanae placed a cup of coffee in front of me. I had black exterior and yellow interior. Okay, so... Okay. I think before, I said that Nanae kind of reminded me of Sachiko, but I think it was just simply, like, hair color kind of reminding me. When she's in a pose like that, she looks a lot like Takako. Like, creepily like Takako. Because didn't Takako have the same, like, hairstyle? And now it's just a different color? But then the face structure is very similar? I could just be going crazy, and I don't want to be too, like... about it, because I'm trying to look for conspiracies, so I feel like they're here. They've got to be here, right? But at the same time, it also just could be artistic expression, like a lot of people just being similarly shaped. Kind of like, because I mean that's the whole purpose of why in anime all the main characters will have crazy hair colors. It really is. It's like in some ways a little bit aesthetic, and now it's kind of almost tradition. But I originally, like, the purpose was just so you could remember who was who. Because when you have an animation style, a lot of people will look super similar. And when they have, like, large shining eyes and very little facial expressions, it's really hard to, like, be able to tell them apart simply by glancing at them. So they have to give you a visual reminder so that you don't have to struggle every time you see someone new to be like, who's that? Because that's exactly what it was like watching Attack on Titan for the first time for me. It's like everyone looks the same except for like 2 people. Anyway, so I don't know. Am I going crazy or am I not? That seems like it's a similar pose with similar hair, just the hair color is different. Alright, I had a black exterior and a yellow interior. For a short while I observed little white bubbles above the black surface accumulating near the edge of the cup. Thank you. I often see them up in the trees back when I still lived in the countryside, but they're a rarer sight where I live now. Seeing them here made me a little nostalgic. Well, they show up quite frequently around here. Nanae sat down in front of me and picked up her cup, a streak of steam rising from the hot liquid. I drank a lot of coffee in this one. I could see her smile beyond the misty veil. She appeared excited. That's the other thing, too. Okay, yeah, that was the creepy thing from last time, like the doctor randomly showing up. That was creepier than I officially, like, originally let on. Like, it confused me at first, but now, as I've been thinking about it, it's like, that's a little troubling that a doctor would follow you on your vacation. Although, granted, maybe it was for a good reason, but still, kind of weird. Also, I remembered from last night, something almost makes me think it wasn't real. Was the fact that they drank coffee. Who drinks coffee right before they go to sleep? This seems like it's a terrible idea. Misty Vale, I'm excited. You seem to be in good spirits. Did something happen? I trailed my finger along the corner of my lips. Yeah! I learned how to make some extra special coffee from a cafe in town, and it turned out really well today. Is it drip coffee? Is it drip coffee? Yeah! It's a special way that minimizes the brewing time, too. Nanae drew her cup to her upper lip and after savoring the smell for a while took a sip. Yeah, it's pretty good if I do say so myself. I'd say mine can pretty much give that cafe a run for its money at this point. Nanae took another sip, letting the corner of her lips curl up again. I grabbed my own cup, enjoying its warmth. The actual taste was a bit more bitter than I was usually preferred in coffee, but it was still pretty good. You have to do the dripping at calculated intervals and to make it strong. Like this, she began twisting her right wrist in the air. Meanwhile, she pushed a plate with little bottles of sugar and cream closer to me with her left hand. I picked up the cream bottle and added some to my coffee, making a white marble-like pattern appear on the surface of the liquid. I stuck my spoon into it and stirred until it disappeared. That's one of the coolest things to watch, is pouring the cream into the coffee. Like, and then like if you pour it in, like it'll vanish in, and then you see it kind of like mushroom up from the bottom. Oh, it's cool. I observed Nanae's gestures. I spotted the girl from yesterday passing through the stone-laden path beyond the window. She had appeared from the east side of the building and soon disappeared beyond the west. What are you looking at over there? Nanae turned her head around to look at the garden. I was just spacing out. Nanae took her back to me and slightly leaning her head forward, took another sip from her cup. I watched her twin tails flutter around her shoulders. She looked upward, her gaze meeting mine. Does it look weird? She traced a hand along her hair. No, I think it suits you. You like twin tails? I can keep it like this tomorrow as well if you want. Oh, jeez. Laying it a little thick, aren't you, today? At least last time you were playing coy. Now it's like not even coy. Oh, but yeah, this is probably bad reason for it. Someone I know used to wear her hair like that. So I guess it was on purpose. Like I get like, I'm just crazy. It was totally intentional. Like absolutely intentional to try and draw similarities between her and Takako, and man, it worked. Because I literally stopped me in my tracks. I was like, she looks like Takako now. Oh, I see. You looked really similar to her from behind, so I got startled a bit. She finishes the contents of her cup and places a saucer with barely an audible clang. Nanae stared into the bottom of her cup for a few moments before finally looking up at me. Is something wrong? She must have been important to you. As I gave her a puzzled look, Nanae explained that she'd never really thought too deeply about individual hairstyles, nor did she associate them with specific people. I see. Interesting. So, what are you gonna tell her? I mean, she's obviously hitting on you, so we gotta have to address this at some point, I think. The sound of clanging dishes dominates the room. Nanae hummed a song as she was washing the dishes behind the counter. I asked if I could help and was refused. With nothing to do but listen to the monotone sounds in my seat, I felt drowsiness overcome me. I shifted my gaze to the pictures on the wall. One of them showed Nanae's aunt smiling under an oak tree. Another had a girl struggling with a bucket handle on the well. In the third, there was a group of men wearing work uniforms in front of a massive, modern-looking mansion. My eyes paused on that picture. The entrance to that mansion looked awfully familiar. Oh, this? Nanae, who seemed to have returned while I was busy inspecting the pictures, pointed at one I'd been looking at. That's an old photograph of this place, she remarked as she sat down in her seat. I turned toward her. There was a streak of sunlight right where she sat down, making Nanae narrow her eyes. The weather's nice today. Oh, right. Tell me if you decide to take a nap. I'll change the sheets in your room. Thank you. But I'm not planning to, so feel free to change them whenever you want. There seems to be a lot of people in that picture. What's the story behind it? Yeah, there's pictures there, that's for sure. I returned my gaze to the photographs on the wall. Oh, it's a group picture from all the employees of when this place opened. Apparently, the original plan was to take a picture of the mansion after they restored it, but photographs were rare in those times, so everyone came to see how it all worked, and they eventually ended up taking a group picture. This is me, by the way. Nanae pointed to a beautiful woman in a kimono sitting on a stool. The baby in her arms was looking straight at us. Oh, so it's the baby, I'm guessing. Well, Nanae sounded a laugh when I told her she looked cute. Well, all children are. It's okay, I can see the resemblance. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. She made a mischievous smile. Aw, okay. I returned my eyes to the picture. See, that's the thing, like, their faces look so, like, the same. Who are you people? Why does she, the mom, look kind of familiar? I'm going crazy. That's your mother holding you, right? Yep, we look alike, don't we? To tell the truth, the current Nanae looked more like the woman in the kimono than the baby in her arms. Well, duh. These people don't look like babies. Still, despite the resemblance in their figures, there was a completely different air about them. The kimono-clad woman had an expressionless face, reminding me more of a doll than a human being. It felt as though she was gazing into empty space rather than into the camera. Everyone else in the picture is flashing broad smiles, making her a somewhat gloomy demeanor stand out quite a bit. What are you looking at? Nanae's voice jerked me back to reality. Everyone looks pretty happy in this picture. Nanae directed her gaze to the photograph. Yeah, I think the economy was on the rise back then, so that could be the reason. When you start thinking like that, is it a sign of age? She made a bitter face. Oh, come on. You still look young. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. A smile returned to Nanae's face. The woman holding a baby in her arms looked at us through the narrowed eyes. Everyone around her looked like they were having the time of their lives. Even without color, I could tell the picture was taken on a sunny afternoon. They probably broke into a lively chatter as soon as the photo session was over. It's a good picture. My eyes stopped on the woman wearing the cook's uniform. She looks like the person I saw in the library. Yeah, that's my auntie. She works here now. You got quite the keen eye. I could see the resemblance, though through the picture, she was still a young woman. She wore a light-colored apron with frills over a dark undershirt. Was she a cook? Yeah, she was our chef, in fact. And you already know how darn good she is. She spent a long time training overseas in younger days, from Spain to Italy to China. And give her ingredients. Just give her ingredients and she'll fix anything. That'd be awesome. Here, look at those pictures. Further down, there were a couple of pictures obviously taken overseas. An even younger version of Nanae's aunt was standing near the western-looking storefront. The place's metal signboard sported a relief in the shape of a fish, as well as a phrase, "Lost Gas," spelled out on it. The whole thing had a very restaurant-like feel to it. In another picture, she was eating something that looked like a kiwi in front of a massive pair of massive castle gates. Blah. That's impressive. But then why did she come back? My mother recruited her when she founded this inn. They were childhood friends, as far as I know. I see. Owning a mansion and running it in the inn were all dreams of theirs. My mother saved up the money while my auntie perfected her cooking skills. When I was little, she talked my ears off about how many challenges and hurdles they had to overcome. They must have been good memories. Yeah, I can tell. She always smiles when talking about the past, even though I've already heard the stories a million times over. Nanae gazed into the distance, her mind seemingly returned to the past. Are there no pictures of you? There should be one from when I was still a kid. Nanae looked around, searching for the picture in question. Ah, here it is! The photo showed a young Nanae with her hair cut short, standing atop an oversized root of some large tree. She was holding an insect net high over her head while carrying a basket filled with all the critters she'd caught. You seem to have grown into quite an eccentric child. It's pretty embarrassing now that I look at it. You like insects? I might have, in the past. I like how the drone beetles sparkle in the sun and found the wings of butterflies really pretty. I was reading Fabre's Souvenirs Entomologies at the time, which only added more fuel to the fire. To be honest, I liked all animals, from birds to fish. Well, you know how kids are. They tend to be fascinated by anything that moves. I never liked insects much. What did you play with when you were a child? Dolls. Alone? At first, yeah. Awkward. Change topic. I might have ventured outside more if I'd been living in a nice place like this. The young Nanae was surrounded by trees, bushes, and all sorts of greenery, almost like she was in the middle of some uncharted, untamed forest. Near the ancient moss-covered trees, coiled roots thick enough to be mistaken for trees themselves, forming a natural maze worthy of exploring. Each layer of the mountainous terrain resembled a naturally forming falling water house. It was filled to the brim with crystal clear water. Oh, that's right, there are hot springs near that place. Want to check them out one of these days? Ooh, hot springs. Sounds like a good idea. Get the promise, then. Nanae leaned against the table with her elbow stuck out and her pinky toward me. That brings back memories. I lifted my hand from my knee and entwined my pinky with hers. If I break this promise, I'll swallow 1,000 needles. If I break this promise, I will swallow 1,000 needles. And our fingers are cut, and our promise is sealed. Huh? At the same time, the clock from the lobby began chiming the hour. Oh, I didn't realize it was so late. You have to work to do? Yeah. You planning to be here a while? I don't really have any plans. I guess I'll stay here for now. I see. Feel free to take anything that's behind the counter if you get thirsty. Thanks. Good luck with your work. Nanae gave me a small nod and left the room. Interesting. Yep. So, yeah, I don't know where to put all this. Oh, hello. Gusts of wind found its way into the room, making Narasaki's hair flutter as she stared down at the chessboard. The afternoon sky was colored in a pale grayish hue. See, here's the thing. What if she's a hallucination? That would kind of make sense. I can see dense clouds drifting from way beyond the mountains. It's gotten pretty cold. Can I close the window? Go ahead. Narasaki answered without looking away from the board, keeping her palm on their chin. Oh, I flipped those around, sorry. The final breeze that snuck inside as closing the window made a high-pitched flute-like sound due to its passage of entry getting narrower, but ceased the moment I finished. I latched the window and returned to the table to meet Narasaki's gaze. It's your turn, she declared. I reached out to the queen and took her pawn without sitting down. The board let out a pleasant clang as I placed my piece on its surface. I sat down, crossed my legs, and once again picked up the book I'd been reading. The board and the pieces Narasaki brought with her were smaller than usual and were made of glass. The two opposing sides, rather than being black and white, were crafted from transparent and opaque glass. Narasaki's hand stopped midway to her knight. She then reached out toward her pawn, yet once again her hand stopped and returned to her chin instead. A black kite outside let out an ear-piercing cry. I think you could have done some serious damage with that first move. Yeah, but I don't think it would have been enough to break you through your wall. If you go this way, my lineup will get to the point faster. If you attack, though, you could take my rook at the front. I tilted my book slightly to see the board. Another cry from the kite reverberated across the mountain range outside. I glanced at the gray sky, but saw no birds from this angle. I wonder if it's gonna rain today. Maybe I should do this. The radio said the latter half of today would be cloudy within a week of rain. With weak rain. Blah. Narasaki's knight moved forward, taking out my pawn. Did you notice any changes in your mood after coming here? Not really. You're not feeling anxious or ill for no apparent reason? I feel pretty calm. Are you asking me because it's going to rain? It's not related to the weather, just the battle on our board was proceeding just as we had foreseen. I heard the cry of the bird again, but this time it sounded closer. Raising my face, I saw a bluebird on the windowsill outside. You sure hear a lot of birds in this place. They seem to pass through this area often while migrating during winter. The mountain here is full of evergreen trees, which must attract them. Migratory birds? It's hard to believe something like small can actually cross the sea. I've heard they could put half their brain to sleep as they close one of their eyes. This allows them to keep flying for longer periods of time without rest. Really? Narasaki moved one of her pieces and considered the bird beyond the window with curious eyes. The little thing let out a cry and jumped around on thin legs a few times. Hearing Narasaki move a piece again, I shifted my gaze back to the board. Although at the cost of a few pieces, she managed to prevent her king from being surrounded and was now gearing up for a new attack. I began reaching out toward one of my pieces I failed to evacuate in time, but I stopped. I realized that if I took it, I'd be opening the way for Narasaki's queen to get inside my back of my formation. Narasaki raised one of her eyebrows in an obviously exaggerated way. You make it look like you aren't thinking anything, when actually conniving and laying traps all over the board. That's so like you. Oh, that was sort of Sachiko, sorry. Not at all, it was just a coincidence. That's my favorite way to play it, is to move with counter moves. It's not like it's hard, but it's like the best strategy besides like being able to really plan out things ahead of time. It's just simply moving your chess pieces and protecting them, making sure that every time your opponent takes a piece that you like, I don't know how to say, not exact revenge, but you give them a cost. You should never let them take your pieces without extracting a cost from them in either placement or in their piece themselves. You're doing it wrong if you're losing pieces for no reason. I realized that Narasaki was gazing out the window, so we spent a short while watching the little birds together. Its round, almost ball-like frame made it obvious that the bird had not been lacking in nutrition as of late. It kept fluttering its wings with much vigor. It would let out a chirp or two once in a while. Would you say it's chirping or just crying? I'd say somewhere in between. Narasaki tried imitating the bird's voice. I spent a few moments comparing her attempts to the actual bird. By the way, how many days did you take off again? About 10. I'm planning to spend a week or so here. I see. What about you? It's about the same. Conveniently, Narasaki pulled out a scheduled notebook from the pocket of her coat, dangling on a nearby chair, and took a few seconds looking over it before answering me. I see you brought that with you. Oh, this thing? Narasaki gestured toward me with a notebook in hand. No, the one that's peeking out of your pocket. I pointed at another notebook in her coat. It was the same one she used to jot down things during my examinations. Oh, I thought it might come in handy. It was my turn to make a move, but instead of touching my piece, I asked Narasaki what I couldn't yesterday. We have time today, so why don't you tell me what's been bothering you about my condition? Narasaki shrugged her shoulders. It's nothing overly serious, really. I was just thinking about your symptoms a little. Thinking? What do you mean? Remember how I said they weren't interfering with your life? Yes. I'm hallucinating without letting anyone else know. That's right. I was just thinking about exactly what kind of hallucinations you were seeing. The Takako you see in your mind participates in conversations with people in your office and does her job without fail, right? And it all felt natural to the extent you didn't realize there was something off. I just got curious about how that must have looked to you. It seems almost like another reality exists within you. Ooh, this might be touching on that little tip that we saw, where there might actually be two realities. Ooh, what if Sachiko's like straddling the line between two worlds? That'd be fascinating. Narasaki paused to catch her breath after that long speech. I'm not sure how to answer that. Well, I have no idea exactly what you're seeing, but I think we've had this discussion before. I'm more interested in how you process the conversations between Takako and your other colleagues. Understanding that might help shed more light on your exact position. My position? Yeah, for example. Narasaki placed her scheduled notebook on the chessboard and began drawing some sort of graph. Here comes another one of her drawings. Not real, real. Okay. She pointed the circles around the word not real and said that this existed only inside my head. This is the world where you thought Takako was still around. I got a sneeze building, hang on. Ah, what am I doing? I just hit the scroll wheel, sorry. And realities were the world where you have to remember that she's not. I made a slight nod as I looked at the graph. Narasaki's pen pointed at the not real bit again. You lived in this one for at least 2 years. And in order to avoid contradictions, you changed the dates of your trip, as well as that of Takako's disappearance. And your current position is probably somewhere around here. Narasaki pointed at the tunnel-like sign between the two bubbles. This slide closer to reality, not to be precise. You fixed your memories and are on the way to returning here, but you haven't done so completely, not yet. You still keep seeing little snippets of your surreal world when something triggers it. That's how I interpret your condition. That's how I interpret your condition, at least. And those triggers are things that remind me of Takako, correct? I would say so. The best way to get over these things is to spend enough time in the alien land until you're completely back in reality. I realized I could no longer hear the chirping of the little bird. I glanced at the window. The bird had already flown away. Narasaki was watching the empty window too. By the way, did you plan anything specific for this trip? Not really. Good. With no plans, you can relax without thinking too much. Of course, you can always use your brain when you feel like it. Watching from a distance can help you notice new things in your life. At this time of day, I would usually be in my office working. I blinked and considered the chess pieces on the table. But now I was playing a game with Narasaki in a place I'd never been before. She was certainly right. I felt more relaxed here compared to when I would visit her in her clinic during work. I had a pretty rigid schedule near the end of the year. We received tons of orders last year, so the office was basically on fire during those final days. Now that I thought about it, I might have taken on too many jobs because I calculated Sachiko as being part of the workforce. Oh, that's a good point. I wonder if I'd unknowingly done something bad to my two colleagues. On top of it, since I realized I was seeing things that couldn't be real, I ended up skipping work and going to Narasaki's clinic instead. It was only then I started realizing I'd actually been hallucinating for years. That said, I managed both to finish all my duties by the end of the year and fix up some of my broken memories at the Narasaki clinic. In my mind's eye, I felt like it all happened in seconds. I stifled a sigh, to which Narasaki reacted with a small nod. Honestly, it was pretty incredible how I kept your charade up for over 2 years without anyone putting me into the hospital. With that mystery cleared up, I shifted my thoughts to what I was supposed to do now. So, you're saying the symptoms will eventually go away on their own? That's what I believe at any rate. You also said you believe you have a specific reason and some sort of goal in mind for conjuring up an alternative reality in my head. Is that correct? Well, that about sums it up, yes. The corners of Narasaki's lip curled up. I see your mind's being back to being on full throttle. Thank you. That said, you should leave the more complicated stuff to me and instead focus on relaxing. Treating you is my job. And if I find something new, I'll inform you right away. Are you okay with that? Yes. Anyway, I'll avoid speaking about this unless something new comes up. Meanwhile, you should concentrate on enjoying your vacation. As you say, Doctor. Narasaki chuckled. It's the first time you called me that. Do you like it, Doctor? Narasaki crossed her legs again and said it wasn't too bad. After that, we resumed our game and continued playing until we got bored. Saying she wanted to look around the area, Narasaki got up and left my room. Wait, they didn't finish their game? Oh, I never could do that. If I had a reason to leave, I'd be staying there to the end. Ah, the library. Oh, whoa. I think it says we're Narasaki now. Fascinating. As I looked up into the oculus window in the center of the library, the winter sky beyond it was completely dark despite it being the evening. The lights on the library walls lit up, banishing the shadows to a small area in the middle of the room and the corners of the ceiling. Everything around me is now illuminated in warm colors. A young girl sat at a desk located deeper into the room reading a book. Holding the sizable book with both hands on its side, the girl had it placed vertically on the desk before her, essentially preventing me from seeing her face. I continued walking by the bookshelf, my heels clicking against the wooden floor. The book had the girl's complete and undivided attention, even when I approached her. Hello. Her small shoulders jerked up a bit as I addressed her from behind. She turned her head around, her pale eyes glaring at me from below. Won't your parents be worried if you stay out this late? She regarded me with indignant eyes. I could see the light of distrust in her eyes as much too intense for her age. However, the light soon vanished, and she returned her gaze to the book. Well now. The girl's desk was littered with various other books and notebooks. The girl closed the book and reached out towards the end of the table, her ponytails dancing in the air behind her. Pulling one of the notebooks to herself, she opened it and began scribbling something diagonally, completely ignoring the ruled lines. I glanced at the other nearby notebooks a notebook that was open and saw a bird's eye schematic of some building. Can I take a look? The girl, still in the middle of writing, gave me a curious glance, then responded with a brief nod. I picked up one of the notebooks and began flipping through its pages. They were the plans of the inn next door, with each page detailing only its general measurements, but the furniture and the various other little things as well. I see you spent a decent amount of time on this. Upon closer inspection, I realized that the other books on the desk were all related to the history of the mansion. There were a number of old informational pamphlets and newspaper clippings scattered around as well. Are you doing this for a school project or something? I don't think I've ever seen anyone go this far for a simple homework assignment, though. It's just a hobby. Oh, that's one peculiar hobby in this day and age. In lieu of a reply, I heard only the shuffling of paper and sounds of scribbling. Looking up at the ceiling, I spotted a star beyond the Oculus window. I realized the scribbling had stopped. Do you live close by? Who are you? Why do you keep talking to me? Irritated, the girl closed her scrapbook and she'd been looking at, reaching out to one of her pamphlets. I'm nobody special, but it's only natural for adults to be worried about children. Is that so? She kept turning the pages, but her pen remained still. I turned the page of the notebook myself was holding. Oh, I think I see the layout of the room has changed a bit. I placed the notebook on the desk and pointed at the guest room on the second floor. How did you know? That's the room I'm staying in. The girl gave me a suspicious look over her shoulder. Who are you, little girl? The light from the lamps inside intensified as it began to grow even darker outside, illuminating her face. Her somewhat big, slanted eyes sparkled black in the artificial light, revealing more about her thoughts and her soft-spoken demeanor. Her nose looked a bit too refined for someone of Asian descent. That's a weird phrase to say. Her lips, pink like flower petals, formed a line and a gesture of rejection. She sat with her back straight against the backrest of the chair that was slightly too big for her. There was a certain sense of sophistication to the way she moved. The girl looked me up and down, and her deep eyes eventually settling on my face. The sun's already down. Have you contacted your family about being late? Is that all you came here for? Said the girl, narrowing her eyes. Her gesture resembled my friend's. I'm looking for a lost item. Have you seen a silver bookmark anywhere? It has a clover slip cut out at the top. The girl turned out a few pages of her scrapbook and handed me the bookmark that was there. I found it on the desk closet closest to the window. I thought it could come in handy, so I put it in my book. Thanks. My friend accidentally left it there, you see. Being made of metal, the bookmark has some weight to it. The borders were decorated with an ivory pattern, while the top part sported a carving of a four-leaf clover. Ooh, interesting, the clover reference again. The orange light in the room was reflected on the surface as I tilted it. By the way, blah, about your research. Have you already talked to the person who's usually at the counter here during the day? The girl picked up another pamphlet and began reading it. She's the caretaker of the inn you're investigating. She's been working here for quite a long time, so I imagine she could tell you a lot of things that you wouldn't find written down. The girl remained silent and turned back to her scrapbook. I can ask her if you want. In exchange for going home today? I like that idea. The girl closed her notebook. I'll be going then. Interesting. What is even happening? Oh man, what a crazy, crazy place we live in here. Alright, I think we're about done, but I'll go for the next scene change, because it's not quite long enough, is it? Good morning, Sachiko. The weather sure is nice today, isn't it? Why don't we do it here now, seeing how it's so warm? I pressed my finger against my temples. It still ached from all that alcohol. I was still sitting on the bed in my pajamas when Narasaki entered the room and passed by me. She parted the curtains, making the light reach the tip of my toes. Wait, so why was she drinking alcohol? Did she just help herself to the bar and just went a little crazy? I glanced at the window and saw her moving the table with the chessboard into a spot with better sunlight. After that, she put up a chair and sat down in front of the table. You promised to help me keep time until Miss Nanae's aunt drops by the library. I did? I don't remember. Well, I do. Where does all your energy come from? Well then, let's see. Do you remember where we left off? Not really. Was I supposed to write it down? I was just checking. I'll go get changed. After pushing aside the sheets covering my legs, I climbed out of bed. So we missed something that happened last night. From behind I heard the glassy sound of a chess piece being moved. I remember how Narasaki sacrificed her knight to open an attack on my left side at the beginning of the match. We returned to a stalemate as soon as I fended it off, though. I see you've finally woken up. Did you come to my room this early on purpose? The corners of Narasaki's lips curled upward. It was worth a try. I suppose. Anyway, I would have never guessed you were good at chess. I'm not that good. You seem quite used to the game, though. Takako was really obsessed with it at one point. She pretty much forced me to play it with her all the time. Was she better than you? At first I kept losing, but I'd say we were unequal by the time we quit. Oh, why'd you quit? Takako got bored of it. I see. Narasaki smiled. If you two are about equal, then meanings winning this would make me the best. I wonder about that. What do you mean? Narasaki asked as she continued to move her pieces. Was Narasaki planning to distract me from the game with small talk, or was there another, healthier reason for her sudden curiosity? I keep playing against the same opponent all the time. I knew her strong points and most of her usual tactics. I could easily predict how the first halves of our matches would usually go. But with a new opponent, I had to keep observing every move and preparing myself for the unexpected. Narasaki released her chin and moved her piece with a thoughtful, I see. As I couldn't see her face, I wasn't completely sure what that I see meant. I frowned and moved my own piece. Narasaki did the same. Then it was my turn again. The way things looked, we were nearing the end of the game. By the way, I met a girl when I went to look for your bookmark in the library. One with curly hair? Exactly. Do you realize how much she resembles you when you were younger? She does? Narasaki placed her hand on her chin, falling deep into thought. What part of us is similar? The way you look at people. She glanced up at me for a short moment and uttered, Yeah, you two really do look alike. That's to reaffirm her own statement. Interesting. As our game near its end, Narasaki began singing a song from old movie, Daisyville. I tilted my book and gave her a hard look. Is that the same song we were talking about before? Are you giving up? Not even close. The pieces kept moving on the board with short clangs. Suddenly, an irritating knock on the door threw my mind into a jumble. It's open. Narasaki responded. Oh, no, Narasaki. It's open, Narasaki responded. I checked my wristwatch, but there still was some time until noon. The door slowly opened, revealing a doll-like girl. Oh, hello. She wore a gray blouse and a long blue skirt. Its hem lingered maybe only 10 or so centimeters above the ground. It was the same girl I met in the library. The girl didn't move any further from the door, instead looking around with suspicious eyes. She looked at me, then at Narasaki, then at the chessboard between us. Do you remember your promise? Asked the girl as she looked at the notebook in her hand. Narasaki answered that she did. There's something I have to ask the person who stays here. You told me I'll be able to speak with her. Narasaki leaned close to my ear. The girl looked at us with knitted brows. We are planning to meet with Miss Nanae's aunt this afternoon, right? I'd like this girl to come with us if possible. The girl's eyes were transfixed on the silver bookmark on my desk, but she looked away as soon as she realized I followed her gaze and instead glanced back at me. I don't mind. Thanks, says Narasaki in a small voice. Interesting. What a weird development. Oh, it's weird. Okay. Now I think we're going to end it here, because now we've got something interesting to think about for next time. So now, who's this little girl? What's her role going to be in the story? Narasaki definitely seems more real than usual, so maybe she is actually here. Surprisingly, we've had a few people who have done things very Takako-ish. We had Nanae doing her hair, and we had Narasaki playing chess with Sachiko. Again, we still haven't had any triggered hallucinations, but that could just be because she hasn't been alone very much. Also, apparently, Sachiko went to bed last night having had a lot of alcohol or something and woke up with a kind of a hangover. Maybe not a lot of alcohol, but it mentioned it. But we never saw that happen, which is interesting. And we even watched some of the story in the main story from Narasaki's point of view, which is also unique because up till now, I feel like the tips have been from her position, but this seems a little bit more like, I don't know. I wonder if Narasaki's actually like a main character. Kind of would make sense. But I'm curious to see where this is going to go. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments in the description, in the comments below, whatever that thing. I'd love to hear your comments in the comments below, because, you know, that makes sense in English. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. I'd love to hear any theories you have that aren't spoilers. I know most of you beat me to it. That's the pleasure you guys get to have. You get to beat me to all the punches. But I guess that's what makes it fun, is to watch me stumble in through the traps and to kind of hear my thoughts on things. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to really get, like, once again, we're still kind of fumbling around. We've got little bits and pieces of things that might matter, but we so far just can't paint a picture. So, there's really not a whole lot I can say. But it's still fun, and that's why we do it, right? So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me, and until the next video you're watching me, whatever you see me in next, I'll see you there.